I was asked to sit in to offer any assistance I can, or if you had questions you couldn't answer, I'd research them and get back to you if I need to. So I'm going to take somewhat of a back seat here, let you run your meeting as you normally would, Mr. Schiller, and just use me or ask me questions as you go.
So the questions we would ask you would probably, all right, before we do that. Well, there's Joe. Good evening, Joe.
Hi, how are you, Rick?
Everything is well so far.
That's good. I had a momentary panic. I couldn't find the email with the link.
So we've got everybody but Connie, which is odd because I thought she would have beat me in here.
Do we have Susan?
Yeah, what happened to Susan?
Susan was here a second ago.
Yeah, she's not here right now.
All right, well, let's see, what is 6:32. All right, there's Susan. Hey, Susan, if you can hear me, you can unmute because we'll take a quick vote to go into to call the meeting to order, rather. Can you hear me, Susan?
Yes, I can hear you.
There you go. Very good. All
Sorry
right.
about that.
So this is February 24th, and we'll call the Board of Elections meeting to order. Everybody, I believe everybody has a copy of the agenda.
Yep.
Yes.
With the 2 items on it. Do we need to add any other items to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, this is Dan Loska. I would recommend you review your meeting minutes from the February 10th meeting and approve them.
Yeah, that's actually also on. I was just going to do it in the other order.
Oh, that's fine.
But I don't think we're going to change the agenda then by everyone's silence. So can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Been motioned and seconded. All in favor? Signify by.
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. That motion is approved unanimously. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as you have it?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
And again, everyone,
Aye.
Aye.
that motion is also approved unanimously. Going off the agenda, the review of offices and roles, we've pretty much handled that. Matter of fact, it's as of like a half hour ago, did all of you, I'm speaking to the members of the board now, did all of you receive Marion Cavan's email?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you had a chance to look at it?
Very
Yes.
quickly. But
Yeah,
yes.
and well, yeah, there's a lot of detail in it, but it kind of lines out very specifically what we need to do between now and Election Day, as far as contacting the county and getting the election certified and all that good stuff. And I will take care of reaching out to the county to make sure we're good with that. Are there any other things we need that you would like to discuss tonight?
Well, we have to contact or line up our poll workers, I believe.
That's true, and that's one of the that is one of the items on that Marion discussed in her email. She has given that information to the city office, who were rather the poll workers from last 2019. And so we have that information, and it's just a matter of who would like to be the person in charge of contacting the previous workers before we reach out to find new people.
I'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
And
Or
I
we could-
guess we're also going to need more.
From last month's or not last month's, but a few weeks ago, from that meeting, it sounded like we had about 10. And even though Marion in her email suggested we might need more, it's not a matter of money. I'm not sure yet how many we'll need, but I would like to stick with 10 for now, only because I think the absentee ballot count is going to be higher than normal, which means
Right.
the voting in the senior center should be lower than normal.
So I might have missed something. Since we're going to be trained in how to use the machines, should it be necessary? Are board members allowed to jump in and help if necessary?
They can jump. That's why we train. They
Right.
can jump in and help if necessary. And if for some reason we get up to the 11th hour and we cannot find enough poll workers to staff the machines properly, then yes, some of us will have to step in and man machines, especially during like the break time, lunchtime, and snack time.
Right. Because I remember last time we basically had nothing to do. Now, if we have to social distance and there are some issues, we're just there anyway.
Yes. And a matter of fact, I think the only thing that we really, we might have had 2 inquiries, whether a person was qualified to vote that whole afternoon. And I don't believe any of us actually had to man a machine
No.
for breaks. And I believe the only other thing that we actually did was, and it might have been you, Susan, hung around and help Marianne count the votes at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And that's really, and as I read through some of the information before, we are not all required to stay at the senior center for the entire election process. And then and the last election, I think we kind of all were. We might have snuck out for an hour or two at some point, but we were all there at the end, and we were all there at the beginning. So it's whatever. Certainly, this year's election is different than the one we had in 2019. So it's a matter of how comfortable you all are hanging out in that building with a bunch of people, and then having a few hundred people come through. I could certainly understand if you had reservations about staying in there all day long or at all. So
Well, I'm certainly hoping that I have both my vaccines by then, so I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And since I'm providing the food, I'm going to have to stay and make sure that it's topped up.
Well, you got to make sure it's there anyway. So
Exactly.
and
I have a question.
yes.
Yeah, we're talking about, going back a little bit about counting the ballots. I was there, I was at a table where a couple ladies were counting them, but they were like, for the longest time, they were completely lost on what they were doing. So when we go to pick someone to count votes, I mean, I guess, can we pick the person, the people, people we know that, we can count on?
Well, the way I understand it, Bob, is the board is responsible for counting the votes, and it actually kind of designates the chair to be one of the counters, and whoever else. I don't, and unless I'm mistaken, and Dan, you might know this as well. The board was the one that actually tallied the votes and canvassed them at the end of the evening. And then the city actually declared validated the winner.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it's the board that conducts the tally of the votes and delivers it to the city offices. And that's how it's always worked. And I believe that was noted by Ms. Caven in the February 10th minutes as well.
Yeah. And her email to this group also kind of went through it and saw that too. So yeah, Bob, to your point, it's just,
So we should just be doing it.
yeah, we will be doing it.
Yeah.
And it should not be a very difficult process. Well, you know what? I got to take that back. Tallying the votes from the machines is very simple because they kind of do it for you. We will probably have more absentee ballots this year because I did read in Kim's email that everyone is allowed to put an absentee ballot in this year, whether they just can because it's because of this pandemic. No one is required to vote in person. So I would think that we will probably have more absentee ballots. And
When can we count those?
that's a good question. That's what I was going to ask. And who counts them? I would assume that the board would count those as well. And I think the last election, we might have had like 30 or 40 at the most. And I kind of remember Marion taking care of that during the day at the polling place.
Last election, there were probably about 75.
Well, there were that many. Very
Yeah,
well.
and I bring,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't recall there being any chaos about the counting it. We just had to add those to what came out of the machines. And that takes a moment or two. It is what it is, but
Yeah, well, there was two ladies last year. I don't know where they came from, but they were at a table back in the corner, and Mary Ann told me to go over there and check on them. And they were, I can't remember evidently everything, but they were counting something. You know, so I just kind of watched over them, and they were like confused on what they were doing. So I don't know what that was for or what, but it's something, you know, it did happen. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, I'm hoping that this, yeah, I'm hoping this year runs as smoothly, if not smoother than prior elections. We'll see.
certainly if board members are in charge of counting the votes, if we can actually get those absentee votes counted early and sorted out, then we have everything kind of in place.
Yeah, I would have to check with the Department of Elections to see how our states is set up to do that. Some states are set up that they cannot start counting mail-in or absentee ballots until the end of the
The
election.
polls close.
Right, exactly. And then some states can, once they're in, they can be processed. So I will check with the Department of Elections to see if there's
I might have missed this, but by when do we have to have absentee votes in?
March 5th, I believe. No, April 5th.
April 5th.
April
Okay.
5th.
No, they have to be on Friday before the vote. It's set on that paper.
The
Yeah.
fifth
Yeah, okay,
is the
this
last
is
day,
this is
Greg.
Kim. Yeah, this is Kim. You can people can request an absentee ballot up until they can hand in the paperwork to receive an absentee ballot up until noon on the Friday before the election. So that would be the 9th. So they can come into the office up until noon on Friday and get the absentee ballot. They have to bring it back to the office by 4:30, or they can bring it to the polling place the day of the election.
and I usually
Oh,
bring it
okay.
over.
So they can bring it all the way up until the polls close on the
Right.
day of the election.
Right.
But anything we
Okay.
receive in the office, I will bring over Saturday morning after the polls open.
So
I
then we
think-
could theoretically be collecting absentee ballots all the way up until the polls close.
I would say yes to that.
It doesn't say that on this paper you gave us today.
Oh, I see. April 5th.
yeah,
is
it
the last day
does.
to register to vote. That's what I was.
Mary Ann said they counted the votes last year in the morning of the election, the absentee ballots. They did it all
Yeah.
day.
I brought over, maybe the ones that I brought over from the office. People who
Yeah.
actually came in at the.
So what we could do is we could count what we have at a certain point and then add anything else that comes in after that. So we're ahead of the game. If we start to count when the polls close, in this particular scenario with the pandemic and everything, we could end up counting for a long time. But if we take what we already have, count them, and then add to that whatever's come in until the polls close, then we'll be ahead of the game.
Yeah, and that would be preferable as long as that's
Legal.
legal. And I will find that out. Because I don't want to have a situation where,
Of course.
Kim might know this, the candidates that filed to run can also assign a challenger. And I don't know if they've done, if any of them have done that yet or plan to be there, but.
And they might have done due diligence and we could be in trouble if we don't do it right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a simple thing. I mean, it makes it easier to count them sooner, but it shouldn't be that much more work shouldn't be that, I hope it's not that much harder to do it later if it has to be that way. I actually have to be at the board of, not for the county though. We have to deal with the county. I have to be at the Board of Elections before next Friday anyway for other business. So I can probably inquire up there what the state rule is, or Kim, you might even know that yourself.
I don't know what the time frame is. Mary Ann might know that. I have an email into her. I don't know if she's listening, but she does have access. So she said I could email her questions back and forth. I
Yeah,
know they have a
I can-
procedure for counting, but I don't know when they're allowed to start.
Yeah, and I kind of recall, like Susan said, that they started counting the absentee ballots in the morning. And I would doubt that there's any objection to that, except if somebody loses that was hoping to win, might throw a monkey in the wrench, then.
A technicality could be a major headache.
Yeah, and I don't want to give anybody a wrench to throw at the monkey, so
No.
we'll try to run it, we'll try to run it straight here. In my head, I had like a short list of things that we, wanted to kind of get on the docket a little bit. They've already been mentioned, the poll workers and who's going to take care of reaching out to them. We can divvy that up, or the city can provide the information of who worked at the, the city can provide the information who worked at the last poll, and then we'll get a count of how many more people we need. Maybe based on the absentee. Hey, Diane, when
Yes,
can absentee ballots be returned to the city?
up until 4:30.
I'm thinking on the sooner end. They can get them
Well,
up, they can pick them up on the 5th.
If somebody comes in on Wednesday, the 3rd, and says, I want a ballot, they can fill out an affidavit right there and I can give them the ballot. They can vote it if they want.
They can fill it out and give it right back. So they can, so basically they can start voting March 3rd, you said.
Wednesday, the 3rd is the first day they can request a ballot.
And Wednesday, the 3rd. Oh yeah, that's after that's after the candidates can,
Yes, this Friday is the last day for candidates to file.
yeah, so Friday before, okay, so we could start seeing votes as early as the following Monday. And that can go through all 30 days. So depending on, I'm just trying to manage how to make the call on the number of poll workers. And if anybody has a suggestion, I'm certainly open to that.
I think your suggestion of going with the 10, or whatever it was we had last time, and then we'll just have to see, you know, how many of those people can agree to, or will be happy to do that or not.
Yeah,
And I also think that we need to declare now whether we're going to be on board for the whole day. I have no issue with being there the whole day. If I'm going to be bringing food, I'll be there for the duration. And if somebody needs to, you need an extra person, I'm there. I'm happy to step in. So if
Yeah,
we know how many board members are going to be there, those are the extra people that we might need.
yeah, and the ones that are willing to stay all day should also be, the other thing that's not mandatory is the voting machine training.
Oh, yeah. Well, we all have to have that anyway.
No, we do not, actually.
Oh, we don't?
No, we do not. It was encouraged that we all do it.
Oh.
We're familiar with it. And I would still, especially if you've never done it before, I would encourage you to do it anyway. But it is not mandatory, but it would make sense that the members of this board that are willing and are desire to stay at the polling place the whole entire day be also willing to go to the ballot machine training.
Absolutely.
You know, if we all go, that's fine. That's great.
So we
what
don't
we
have a
do.
date for that yet.
No. And I believe from what I've read from Marion's email, that once we get in touch with the county about our election date and whatnot, they will reach out to me to let us know what dates, because I think it's more than one, but I'm not positive. But it was, she mentioned that there'd be at least one date in the late afternoon available for anyone in.
That's how it was last time.
Yeah, and matter of fact, and then that is mandatory for the poll workers, but not for the board. So but the board has to make sure that everybody's, informed on what their responsibilities are. So, we'll get. I'm sorry, I've already forgotten. I meant to write it down. Who's going to reach out to the prior poll workers?
I said I would.
Yes, Joe, you did.
Kim,
Do you want to divide that? Do you want to? Or do
Sure.
you want to do it yourself? Whatever.
If they're like 10 of them, if we split it 5 and 5, I'd be happy to do that, or I'll take all 10.
Yeah, that's
whatever you
fine.
want.
Okay, you and I can talk offline.
All right,
We'll take this offline.
all right.
Sue, this is Joe. Joe, this is Sue.
Are we
Yeah.
offline, or are other people listening?
So you guys will take care of the poll workers, or
Yeah, we'll do the poll workers.
at least get that part going. And Bob, you said you were going to help with voter registration, right? Make sure the rolls were correct.
Yeah, I'll help with that. And I think it's in the minutes here that I'll get in contact with Bob Thatcher
Yes.
about setting up and everything.
All right. That's really the two biggest points we have ahead of us, and the training. And I said I would take care of reaching out to the County Department of Elections.
So I have one really important question that I don't remember from last time. So I am providing food for the poll workers and the board members, and that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe that we fed any of the staff of the senior center, mostly.
We
because-
had way too much food last time.
Yeah.
And I might have to sort of do a sort of a cook something interesting for us.
Well,
Why not? Come on, it's an opportunity. Let's make this fun, right? Come
Right.
on.
it's going to be fun no matter what, but
It's gonna be fun no matter what. Exactly.
if you recall, Susan, that last year and actually I think it was John Lloyd and we went around and picked up the food at like,
Yes, you guys did.
we went to Piece of History, we went to 3 Countries, and we went to those 2 places. And I think somebody else went to something in the morning to bring.
Well, once we know how many people, I can sort of narrow down what we're gonna need food wise.
That
It's gonna be a food event.
That's going to be a food event.
Why not?
Are we going to show up on Diners, Drive-In, or Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives? This just crossed my mind. Do we need, Kim Bergmuller, do we need to have 1099s for the people that work, the members?
That's actually a Diane question.
I kind of remember filling one out, but yeah, Diane.
There is a form that has to be filled out that's signed that they worked. I'll have to look for a copy of that because Mary Ann would hand those out. And then she would give them back and then we would pay them through our AP. But they don't have to have a 1099 that I know. Nothing was ever turned into me as far as that goes.
Oh, that's right. She submitted vouchers.
Yeah, there's no 1099. They're not making $600. They're
Oh, I'm
Oh,
not.
wait a minute. Really? We don't get $600?
Motion to adjourn.
No, there's a voucher that she had handed everybody and then handed them into me and we processed it through our payables.
Okay, so that's what we need to have.
Mhm,
We need that for the board and for the poll workers as well, right?
mhm.
Okay.
Now, on one note, if I could just interject here for Susan, I know last year or last election, John Lloyd was the food person, but he
Yeah.
also purchased quite a bit of wipes and hand sanitizers and things like that. So that might be something, I know that, I think at one of the meetings they talked about, the county might be supplying some of that with the machines, but you might want to ask at the training what will be supplied, and if not, you might want to make sure you've got
Absolutely. That's a great
Yeah.
idea. That's perfect.
sanitizing wipes and Clorox wipes, and we've got some things at the office we might be able to bring down, which are the towers that, the stands. There's
Sure.
things that- Yeah.
Oh,
but
that'd
just
be
make sure
great.
you've got plenty of that kind of stuff, and extra masks for people that show up without a mask and all that kind of good stuff.
And-
That's actually great. So we should have that when people come in, they can clean their hands and put on a mask if they don't have one. I would assume that everyone at this point knows that they're going to show up in a public space. They have to be wearing a mask, but that may not be so.
What
So
if we
that's-
have
that's
someone
great.
What if
Good
we have
idea.
someone who comes in and refuses to wear a mask, even if we provide it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Then we beat them up, right?
That sounds like a Dan question.
We have a gorilla at the door that escorts them out.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not entirely certain of the answer, but I'll research that for you. It strikes me that they could be excluded because of the public health crisis.
I just
But I don't want to
someone-
definitively say that here.
I don't want to have someone claiming we've denied them constitutional rights without a solid basis for that action.
It strikes me that what could happen is we hand them and one of the absentee ballots and let them fill it out right there, since they can tender it before the polling place closes. So that
Okay.
might be a solution for the person who doesn't want to wear a mask.
Although the last
You
time.
might have to throw it to him since he has to be 6 feet away, but you can get it to him.
Well, you
That
tie a
might
rock to it, it'll go.
Since the time to request a ballot, absentee ballot is noon on Friday.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, but I think under those conditions, I would rather have that option to do it that way if we do come across someone like that, to say that they were given an opportunity to vote.
Well, the problem with that is that if we make an exception for that person, there may be somebody who ends up not voting at all because they missed the deadline and didn't realize they could ask for an absentee ballot later just by showing up.
Right.
So I don't know if we can waive that rule. It was just a thought. But I'll get the answer for you on whether or not we can exclude somebody from the polling place if they won't cooperate with masking and social distancing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, other than that, I think we're good. I mean, once we know about how many poll workers we should require, which it sounded like Marion thought it might be a better idea to have more, but it sounds like we just can probably work as well if we just spread out more. But
I think that we know how many extra poll workers we have if we know who's going to attend the training and who's going to commit to be there all day.
yeah.
So
Well,
I for
poll
one
workers are-
commit to the training and I commit to be there all day.
And,
So
and the poll
that means we have 11 potential poll workers if all 10 agreed to reattend.
yeah, and the poll workers are required to be there all day. That's kind of what they
Absolutely.
kind of to do. I don't have anything else on the radar at the moment for this meeting. I know as we get closer. Oh, one other thing I was going to mention, and this is probably a Diane question too. Susan, if you're going to purchase a bunch of food and such for us, I think there's an option where she can get a cash advance for that, or can either.
Don't worry about that.
Okay, so you can turn a receipt and get reimbursed. I just want to let you know that that's.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. But in case something else comes up and any of us are required to go purchase something in the 11th hour.
It's fine.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, I get it. I'm used to working in an atmosphere where I get reimbursed for
Okay.
things. So it's fine.
I just wanted to make sure you knew that, and if anybody else has.
And if anybody needs to know in advance what my plan is, I can always present that as well. Make sure that there's going to be enough and that I have enough stuff. I'll do a list and I'll talk about portions and everything else. It's fine. I can do that, a week in advance or whatever, and just make sure that we're not caught out without enough supplies.
No, I wouldn't expect that anyway, but
Can I put my order in now?
As long as somebody gets something to eat and something to drink and a chance to
Yeah.
sit down for a few minutes.
And what does everybody want to drink? I need drink orders. No, I'm joking. Just joking.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's open bar too at the election.
Hey, there it is.
I'm there full day then.
I don't, unless anybody else has anything to bring up tonight. I do not.
I just want to quickly ask Kim, I think it might be, do we get the previous poll worker information from you? Or where would we get that?
I think Diane has a list of the people that worked and were paid last year, so I think she's gonna supply that.
I can
Okay.
supply that to you. Yeah,
Thank you. So you give us their contact information.
Oh, that'd be great.
yeah, because I'll have the copy of the vouchers from last time.
Okay, so if there's,
Perfect.
if there's email, that's even better. If they're, phone, obviously, we'll work with what we have.
And I'll see what I have.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
Yeah, and if you have a chance to read Marion's email, I believe that was in there somewhere, that she was going to give it to the city so that we could, so that it was available to us. So
I can find them. Give me a day or so here and
I'll give you a whole 2 weeks.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
Give me to the next meeting.
Okay.
When did Mary Ann send out that email?
Today. Yeah, let me,
Okay.
you know what, let me check, make sure you were on it.
It was around 6 o'clock tonight, I think.
Yes, it was. It was not that long ago.
I probably, was I on it? I haven't checked.
Oh, yeah, it went to you, Bob.
Okay.
It went to everybody, but no, it went to everybody. So
Oh, all right.
we should all have it.
The day of the poll,
And
we're talking, go ahead.
once we get maybe the and Dan, this could be a question for you. That list, can that be? Nah, we'll leave it alone. Well, you guys can get the list and start contacting the people. I didn't know that could be part of the items that could be part of the next agenda, but it really doesn't need to be. It's got personal information and stuff. So once you guys split it up and divide
Yep.
and conquer. Divide and conquer, and hopefully you'll have our next meeting is 2 weeks from today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And we'll find out how many people you've contacted, or if any. I mean, we're kind of we've got enough time that it doesn't have to be done.
Well,
before-
once we have the list, we will start contacting people and
Yeah.
it's only 10 people.
Right.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
only-
we should be fine.
Yeah, but it's getting 10 people to get a hold, call you back or email you back, or and I would think that, if they liked it before, they'll like it again, or if they hated it again.
Chairman Schiller, just to
Yes.
let you know, we do have someone in attendance, Victor Bryson, so I'm not sure if you want to ask for comments.
Okay. That was not on that was not on the agenda, public comment, but if it pleases the board, we'll allow it.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We have Victor Bryson, and I will put him in to talk.
Okay.
Hello?
Good evening.
There he is. Oh, he's muted.
Bryson, you're
You're on
muted.
mute, Mr. Bryson.
Mr. Bryson, if you can hear me, put your hand up. There you go. Now you're unmuted. Very good.
Alrighty. Every absentee ballot that leaves the tax office will be showed proof of ID before it leaves that room, right?
They have to show proof of ID before they're even given a ballot.
Exactly. Okay, I just want to make sure there's no mail outs or anything like that. And as far as that, you guys are doing a very good job. It sounds like you got your hands full. It's really nice to see that you can sit here and joke about it all night, because with the pandemic going on and all, most people don't even want to be involved right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I had to say. I'm just more or less listening in,
Okay.
and no harm in that. Thank you, sir.
Well, certainly welcome and good luck with your campaign.
Alrighty, thank you.
If there's any other business to attend to tonight, well, if there's no other business to attend to tonight, then can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And moved by Mr. Davison and seconded by
Susan,
Susan to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Very good. We are adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Lasco.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
And we'll see each other in about 2 weeks.
We will.
Yep. Susan, you and I will be in touch.
Yes, we will.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.